ပြေးနေသူတို့လည်းမေးကြရတာပေါ့တိတ်မကောင်း
Hey, this is Nyingsu. For this week episode, I invited Maung Moe, a Burmese filmmaker, and also he's included in the DVB Short Docs film competition. Maung Moe, welcome to DVB Vox Pop.
Thank you, Nyingsu. Thanks for having me today.
Can you introduce briefly about yourself?
I'm a filmmaker. Actually, Maung Moe is my pseudonym.
I just watched your documentary that also included in the DVB Short Docs. Can you explain about that?
The title of this film is called Along the River. So this is a story about Myanmar refugee camps along the Thai border. So basically there are two main rivers, San Luin and Moe River. Moe means Tao Yin River in Burmese. So there are two rivers. After the coup, because of the conflict, there are a lot of camps. There are a lot of displaced camps along these two rivers. There were already like 9 existing refugee camps in Thailand since before the coup. So those camps were here for like more than 30 years, at least 30 years. So this is about the situation of refugee camps and displaced camps along the Thai-Myanmar border on the both sides of these two rivers.
In the documentary, you interview a lot of people and you visited a lot of refugee camps, I assume. So is there any challenges for you to travel to the refugee camps or to interview with people?
I've been monitoring the situation of the refugees crossing the river in and out of Myanmar for the past 2 years. So that's their story. For that work, it is impossible for me if I would do this documentary alone by myself. There are many local journalists, there are many local activists, local resources. They've been helping me out for the last 2 years. I traveled to, of course, those locations for a couple of times in the last 2 years, but I really appreciate those local journalists and local activists, who were helping me out. Some people I cannot name some people, but they're really helpful. First of all, the challenge is people do not know that these people exist. These refugees exist. Same for me as well. I also had no idea about it. My initial interest is in all the border location. I'm super interested about any kind of border location. Since the conflict was intensified, that was let's say October 2021, 6 months, 8 months after the coup, I started monitoring on the border location, how people are coming in or coming out, crossing the river. So then I get to realize that, they are people, they are living in the bushes next to the river, and they are refugee camps already, There are already almost 90,000 Myanmar refugees in Thailand since way before the coup, So Myanmar military has the reputation of committing all these violent atrocities over the ethnic minorities, So they had to flee their home and villages, and they stay in those camps in Thailand, and they're not allowed to leave the camp. They are stuck in the camp for 2 or 3 generations at least, And of course, some of them were able to get resettled in that country like US or the Aussie or any other Western countries. The majority of them are still closed. And the interesting thing is, they have their families remain inside, let's say, Karen state. But now the military bomb over this population again. The same repeated cycle had happened again, in 2021 after 30 years or 40 years later, So the same cycle is repeated again. But we didn't pay enough attention, even as a Burmese filmmaker, we didn't pay enough attention. And there are many people like myself. I was very fortunate that I was able to learn about that situation through some local friends, and then I was okay, I wanted to make a documentary. The main challenge is we didn't know about this, like many of us, we had no idea about it. So it was really difficult to make research about it. Of course, it is not very challenging to get stories like out of people. It is possible. Like as long as you have a good chat, as long as you have a trust with them, you can get their story. But it is really challenging to present like a accurate story with like facts and figures. It is really difficult. I think I managed to do it. And there's a little bit challenge about like the safety and security, which I don't really want to highlight. Of course, it is risky. Everybody know about that. That's not new information. And the other thing is like you have to manage the trauma that you get infected from the interviewees. I don't know, like I made around like 30, 40 interviews in the last 2 years with the refugees. But in the film, I have like how much, like 3 or 4? Maybe 5, like including the short interviews. I have a lot of footages, like I don't know, like maybe 2 terabyte of footages about the refugee situation. We have to transcribe. So you see the stack of papers over there. That's all the transcribes. So like you have to read and highlight, and then you write script again, and then you read the script again and again. You keep hearing all those interviews. So it really like infectious. In my mind, So I think that's the most difficult part. So whenever I heard this lady saying like, I wish you would win my son. So this lady thought that I'm also one of like a freedom fighter, or she had no idea, she didn't know that I'm just a filmmaker. She thought that I'm also one of the freedom fighters. So she wished like, I wish you would win. So whenever I hear this soundbite, it really made me angry and sad, and also being hopeful at the same time. The grassroots like understood like who is doing right thing. People already knew that who is doing the right thing. But still, Myanmar military is still winning because they have a lot of strong supplies and stuff. So anyway, so these are 3 main challenges that I would say.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the grandmother that telling you that I hope you go win. It really touched me too. You already documented those kind of situation, the refugee camp, and that people doesn't aware of. How about the output of the videos now that you're in the DVB Short Docs competition? But did you also pitch to like international media to get the global awareness of this refugee situation? Can you explain me more about that?
I haven't had a chance to pitch to a lot of international publications. There are a few of them, I would say 1 or 2. They're not really interested in it yet because of the Israel-Palestine conflict, and there are many other global crises. That's why they're not really interested yet. And also, Myanmar has like a poor PR campaign. Our NUG or our political side, or our revolutionary side, we don't have a good PR strategy. So the international community has not much interest in our issue. We have a lot of stories. We have a lot of strong, interesting stories. Think from a perspective of like PR perspective. You could easily sell it to anyone. I mean, sell doesn't mean like, getting money. Sell as like promoting your story, promoting your struggle, and getting attention and getting support from the international community by saying like you are doing something right, you are doing something for justice and freedom. It's not just politics. It's not just only about the election or political party. It's about the freedom and justice for the people. So we have a lot of strong stories. We don't get enough attention. So anyway, it's not much interest yet. But there is going to be a written story published soon. I don't know when, but it should be soon. That you asked me about the like what I expect, as an output, right? I would say like there was like a award that I kind of imagine to address refugees, like who they are. People forgot about them. People didn't know that they exist. Like we had no idea. We grew up in Yangon or Mandalay or Naypyidaw, and then we had no idea about them. They lived in those camps for like decades. Now their next generation is having the same situation, exactly the same situation. And they are potentially at risk of being stuck in the camp for next 3 or 4 decades. And our leadership, NUG or civil society, or as far as I witness on the ground, we don't have a good strategy. So I want to point it out I really want to point it out. We are basically emphasizing a lot on politics, not about the people. We're saying like we should be like doing this campaign, that campaign, and also we talk about the resistance movement, But I think we forgot about the refugee population. The Thailand is not signatory to the Refugee Convention. UN agencies or other international aid agencies cannot work independently, cannot work freely. They have many restrictions. Of course, they are also working on the ground, but it's not enough. And our national unity government, they do not have a good policy to work with the Thai government or to work with the international community for the refugee population. So I want them to work on this issue. Like, you cannot forget them. You must not forget about them. Do something for them. They have to have a policy for international advocacy or like advocacy for the Thai government, like how they should deal with the refugee population. Of course, we are talking a lot about no-fly zone or whatever, but the military not gonna comply those regulations. So we have to get rid of the military. So let's just ignore them, because they will bomb over the displaced camp. They will block the transportation road for the humanitarian assistance and supplies. But there are many other stakeholders, UN agencies, the Thai government, and the local community, the Thai local community. They are really, really helpful. I witnessed that the Thai local community at the border, they are helping Myanmar refugees. Wow. This is really touching story. For me to witness, and I'll tell this personal story later. I will include it too. So there are many other stakeholders, and we have good results. I mean, Myanmar civil society is very powerful, and we have a lot of good knowledge, So I really want our leadership to focus on this issue. So that's the main output that I would like to see from my film.
Yeah, since you mentioned that, I've also noticed that a lot of Myanmars, including NUG, they didn't even focus on the refugee camps. So I hope from your documentary they would aware of that. And also you travel a lot of refugee camps. So with what kind of budget do they have to survive and treat those refugees? And also after the coup, you mentioned that there are so many refugee camps, but how many? Yeah, can you be more specific about the populations of the refugees and also the numbers of the refugee camps?
Myanmar has a lot of refugees, in every border location, in every ethnic area. Myanmar has a lot of refugees, now even in central Myanmar, okay? But this film is only dedicated for the refugee population along the Thai-Myanmar border. That's it. Not other location, okay, like Kachin or Rakhine or central Myanmar, because I do not know about them. Simple. I know about the refugee population along the Thai-Myanmar border. That's it. So that's why I film about them. And the accurate numbers, like the total number of the displaced or refugee population, I have no idea. And I don't think there is any accurate data. According to TBC, the Border Consortium, Thailand already had nearly 90,000 Myanmar refugees, until the coup. They received refugee population since before the coup, since 30 years ago. And that's around 90,000 population, But now, there are more and more, There are now more and more. So we don't know how many of them. There are 9 existing refugee camps that host those 90,000 population. So currently each refugee receive 313 baht per month from the Border Consortium, as a food allowance, And it's really restricted. They can only spend on the food, not anything else. It is quite restricted, and they cannot work. But for the new refugee population, there is no official support. Also, there are some supplies from the UN agencies, mosquito nets or some food supplies, but it is very limited, very limited. I've been to some camps, they have food only rice. That's their only food. They haven't have anything else, just the rice. For example, that local camp from Karen State. They have around 600 or 800 people. I don't really remember the number. So all of their houses, they have a hole in the middle. So the houses were already built for like almost 2 years, and there are a lot of rains. So it's like corroded, like there was a corrosion. So they have a hole in the middle, So the camp leader told me that I need to repair it, And then she told me that she cannot give enough rice to her fellow displaced people. They don't have enough rice. So she told me that she had been relying on the individual donors or like some civil society organization. They haven't had any support from international organization. They were not able to recognize from the UN or like other agencies. If any UN agency do like cross-border aid from Thailand, the Thai policy do not officially allow them to work in this situation. Also, if they do the humanitarian assistance from the Myanmar side, the Myanmar military blocked the situation. Also, the Myanmar military was arresting the aid workers. They confiscated rice and other supplies. So there are many restrictions. So I think the best solution is to do the cross-border aid from Thailand, to work together with the Thai government. And, in the film, there was a volunteer who said that the Thai people are helping Myanmar refugees because Thai people sympathize us, sympathize our people. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. But the Thai government sadly do not have a good policy to have, and the worst thing is that our NUG, the National Unity Government, has no, as far as I know, there is no advocacy policy for the Thai government.
Like you mentioned, Thai people are helping Burmese refugees. Like Myanmar refugees. So how are they helping?
I heard, some Burmese refugees, crossing into Mesa. So, and I went to see them, and then I saw a Thai businessman who owns a factory where many Burmese people are working. I thought he was a Burmese, and I was talking to him in Burmese, and he didn't understand. So I realized, okay, he's Thai, but he speaks also a little bit of English. So we talked, and he was cooking and preparing food, and then I was very surprised, and I thought, okay, the Burmese migrant population might be cooking food for Myanmar refugees, but I didn't expect that it would happen from the Thai community. So I asked this guy, bro, why are you doing this? He said, like, I have many Burmese workers at my factory, so it's like their relatives are coming to my town. I have goosebumps, seeing this. He was driving his truck. He cooked his food and then he put in the styrofoam box and then he delivered it with his truck. It was very impressive to see. And there are many Thai farmers. They own land along the border. So they let the Burmese refugees stay in their land. They let them, they support them a little bit of money, not a lot, because those Thai farmers, they are already poor as well. Yeah. They don't, but they give their money to the Burmese refugees. They let them stay. They can do a little bit of agriculture, but they cannot really come to the town. They just stay there, So I feel a lot of sympathy from the local Thai community along the border. Of course, there are many other problems, like in terms of the exiled community, whatever. But the Thai grassroots local community is helping the Burmese refugees. So it is really beautiful to witness. And there was even a story of a Burmese refugee boy. He wrote on the ground, like, thank you, like when he was staying in a Thai farmer house. It was quite like last year, 2022, February or March, something like that. It was a bit viral on Thai TV as well. So my point is that if NUG should take this as a campaign to advocate to the international community, like we really appreciate Thai people and the Thai government for helping us, for providing us shelter, because we have to have a leadership that appreciate whoever is helping us. People are basically like hopeless, so they have nothing to do. They also cannot go back home. They also cannot like come to Thai side and work or study. They cannot have, because the Thailand is not a signatory to the refugee convention, so they got nothing to do. And some camps they can like have some plantation around the camp, but some existing refugee camps they cannot even grow plantation because it's gonna affect the ecosystem of the Thailand. That's what they told me. So that's why they cannot have any plantation.
Yeah, I saw the video footage that for the tomatoes it was like 30 baht, and like what I understand is these camps, the unofficial camps, let's say after the coup, there were like so many camps. So from the camp, those people can't go around to the cities or can't even go there.
So the new displaced population, they are of course also stuck in their camp. Their camp is much smaller than comparing to the existing refugee camps. Their camps are much smaller, and so they are surrounded by the river, okay, or military base behind them, like a few kilometers away from them, not very far. And they cannot. Their village, their home is not very far from the camp. They can get there in like an hour or two, but they cannot because their military base, like in the jungle, like that they cannot cross over. And so some refugees they try to go back home. They attempted. There is a military their military base, so they try to go back to Lekeko village, Lekeko. So the Burmese military is charging them 2,000 baht per once, like whenever they're going there. So they told me that they need to pick up some of their belongings, some of their like remaining belongings, like pots or kitchenware or whatever. But if they want to go there, they have to pay Burmese military like 1,000 baht, and they have to rent a car that is another 1,000. So it's 2,000 baht in total. So but this population has no money, and they have no support. They have like almost completely relying on the donation from like individuals and civil society organizations. So they cannot do that. And I of course I wanted to include that in the story, but I cannot because of the time limitation. So I wish to produce a longer version as well. So anyway, so this is what's happening there. And so there is a migrant population in Karen State already. So they are from Bako or they are from central Myanmar. So they are farmers like working in Karen State. So when the war happened, they also have to displace together with the local Karen people. So they almost like they are also like Karen, they are like local Karen people, they're safe. So I've also saw this population, and they have some how to say, like high school educated. They are helping to run a school in the camp. So these Burmese people, they are providing education for the Karen displaced community. And also they are doctors, they're teachers, volunteers from the Karen local community. They are backpackers, doctors. Many of them are like helping, but it is financially very challenging, because goods are getting more expensive. You cannot really spend a lot of money, and people are getting tired. Like Myanmar people always contributed a lot, like for the movement, for the resistance, for the displaced community, even for the victims of the flood. But now they are tired. The Myanmar diaspora community all over the world, they're very tired, like including us, so we cannot contribute a lot of money like we did before.
Yeah, of course. Now that your documentary is being screening on the DVB, how do you feel about that?
So my film will be screened on 28th November. I want some impact from this film. There are a lot of hope that I have for the refugee community. First they have to have enough supplies, and they deserve to have their right to education, their right to access humanitarian supplies. So I really wish that happened. And also I really wish that our leadership do not feel that this is like a hard criticism, because we want to assist them. It's not like I want to help them. I want to be your assistance. I want to assist you, like to do your own job. But don't feel super critical. Don't feel defensive about it. Let's be professional. So I really want our leadership to be more professional in every aspect, but especially, the first one should be about the refugee population. And I want people to have more focus on this population and this issue, because it is very complicated. There are like at least 3 types of camps. So many camps spread around, on both sides, and different ethnic groups involved. Myanmar military has some policies to block the aid supplies, and also Thai government do not have enough policy to allow the aid supplies, and our NUG government do not have a good advocacy policy to work well, because I understand we have so many issues to prioritize. Of course, we have to think about a lot of things. I understand that. But please turn your head towards the refugee population for now and have some policy. And then, of course, we will also work on other issues as well together.
Yeah, so, and also, what do you hope for the future of Myanmar?
Well, I really hope to have a free and fair country, like where everyone respects every other one, and we respect justice and we respect the rights of everyone else. And we have witnessed a lot of good things, in the recent years, especially after the coup. People get united more and more. We do not believe in propaganda and fake news. More and more people sympathize about ethnic groups. So there are many beautiful things happening in a very difficult time. That's a great story. I would say like people are awakening, like Myanmar people are awakening in this like hardship, during this hard time. So I really hope that this kind of progress is continuing, until we get to a country with like freedom and justice.
Well, thank you for sharing your stories and also raising awareness for the refugees and refugees population.
ဒီစခန်းမှာလာနေတာကတော့15နှစ်ရှိပါ
ဒီနယ်စပ်မှာရှိနေတဲ့ camp လေးစီကိုပစ္စည်းတွေရအောင်ပို့ချင်လို့ရှိရင်အခက်အခဲတွေအများကြီးပဲ
ကိုယ်နိုင်ငံမှာပဲနေချင်တယ်